Now that we know how to navigate the website, the next thing we need to learn is how to edit the pages. So we already learned that we can add pages by selecting add page and choosing from pre-designed or blanks, or my pages are ones that you have saved or ones that you've made yourself and saved. We've also already seen how we can move spreads around in this format, as well as over here in the manage, you can move spreads around. Problem with doing it over here is that sometimes you can accidentally break up a spread. A spread is the two pages that are together facing each other when the book is closed. It's always an odd and an even number together. So this is a whole page spread. One side is just a page, both sides is a whole spread. To edit the page, you need to click on it and select it. There's also a way for us to title the pages. So let's say this is Schmidt page, and this is a Schmidt page. And you can also assign the pages to people. So I could say that this one is just my page and nobody else can work on it. Or I can say that this is my page and other people can view it and help me with it, but it's not locked into just me. I have you all set as chief editors so that you guys can all help on all of the pages, even if they're assigned to somebody else. But do not take advantage of that because I don't want to take that away from you guys. When you click on the spread, it will open it up. And there are some new tools here for us to check out. Over here on the left, there is a background button where you can choose to change the left side or the right side or both sides. You can select a border, different colors and patterns. You can change the visibility of them. You can zoom them in or out, the different graphics on one side or both kind of things. So that's your background. When you click on it, that option goes away. Down here at the bottom, there's some more tools. You can zoom in on part of your image. This is going to be, or part of your page spread. This is really helpful for when we're trying to read the type that is so tiny on there. And there's also a grid, which can be great for figuring out if your boxes are lined up together. We also use the grid to make sure that nothing is too close to the gutter. The gutter is this inside seam that goes in between the pages. That's where the book gets bound together. And we also make sure that nothing is too close to the edge of the pages. If it's a quarter of an inch from the edge of the page, it's at risk for getting cut off. Usually things are not, but we try not to put anything too close to the edges for that reason. So you can choose to have the grid on or off, depending on if you need to be able to see it or not. So let's go to off. Good. Undo and redo. So if you mess something up, there's always this option here, as well as I believe Control Z works. Over here on the right, we have photo, text, and graphics. These are all things that you can open up and insert into your page. As you can see, there are already some photo boxes on here that you would be able to drop pictures into. And when you click on them, there's some editing tools for those as well. Just like when you click on text, there's some editing tools and some options for editing text. So let's start with just photos. Let's start with putting a picture into one of these. So if I go over here to open up photos, there's a couple places we can get our photos from. My photos are photos that I've already uploaded into TreeRing this year. As you can see, I don't have any in this year yet. Shared photos are photos that you've shared across the whole school, so anybody can see them when they log into their TreeRing and see the yearbooks process. Editor photos are photos that we've just shared within the staff. This is probably my preference the most. And then there's also a My Computer option where you can upload pictures from off of your device. Usually we are going to be downloading pictures from Shutterfly and then uploading them into TreeRain. So since we keep most of our pictures on Shutterfly, we have to download them first before we can put them in here. So this is where you can say if you want to share the photo with everybody in the school or keep it private. I guess I just kind of prefer to keep them private. This is a great time to tag people that are in the pictures. So when you start to type in their name, their email should pop up, and then you can just click on them and they are tagged in this photograph. So if I use this picture on this page, then in the index at the end, it'll list the people that you've tagged onto that page if they're in that picture. If we end up deleting this picture later, it will update the index accordingly and take those people off from being listed onto that page. We can minimize this, and whenever it's done loading, it'll pop up over here on the side. As you can see, my picture finished loading, and now it's an option over here on the sidebar for me to use. You can click and drag and drop this picture into any box that you want it to fall into. If you hold it over the box, it will automatically fill within that box. If you double click on that box, you get some editing options where you can maybe zoom in. You can click and readjust the placement of the image. You can rotate the image. You can also edit the photo from here. So if the picture was too dark or too light and you do some of those simple editing tools like that, you can do that here in the photo editor. Okay, now that my photo editor has loaded, you can see how we can open up a picture and make edits to it. First off, there's some filters that you may choose to want to put on there. When you click the little drop down box, you can see some previews of what the image would look like with some of those different filters on there. We're probably not going to use these as much as we would this adjustments here. When you're in the adjustments, this is where you can bump up the brightness or lower it. The problem I usually see is that people will brighten something, but they won't then adjust, bringing the contrast back in or fixing the gamma on it so that they've got the right midtones in there. So making sure that you play with all of these options to get it to look really natural and not just fix the brightness and call it good. This picture does not look good like this, so I'm not going to save it, but you can see how to do that now. Next, we'll look at the text. Very similar. There's things that you can pull and drop into places, or you can just drop your own text box in there by clicking and dragging and dropping this in. It's always going to start in this font and size. You can click and drag it around and you can edit that font later. Coming over here to the options, font, you can make it different fonts and sizes and whatnot. These forward and backward, duplicate and delete options are on the text and the images. It's saying if you want it to be in front of or behind something, so you can layer things and pull them ahead or behind. If you have something that you would like to duplicate, make another one, put it somewhere else. That's how you do that. Or you can delete something. If you do this kind of delete, you'll lose your whole picture. Or if you want to leave the photo box and just get rid of the picture that's inside, you can go to your options and hit this remove button, and it'll just take the picture out of that photo box there. So then you're back to where you started. Graphics. There are going to be certain graphics that fall just within the theme that we chose, like our style. or you can just pick any different little area and find graphics that fall in that area and pull it in. Try to stay away from things that are too clip art looking and steer more towards graphic design looking things if you want to use those. There's lots more options. If you shift and click things, there's some alignment options. You can copy styles, meaning you can make something the same height or width, different things like that. Play around with some of the different tools, get familiar with how to edit the text and the pictures and aligning things around.